Good afternoon, and thank you everybody for joining us today. My name is Andrew Daphne, and I'm the Instruction and Outreach Librarian at the New Jersey State Library. And our presenter today is Martha Sullivan, who is our Health Sciences Liaison Librarian at the New Jersey State Library, and she's going to be giving you a general overview of PubMed, especially regarding their new user interface and how to go about searching it. It is a free resource, so there are a lot of good features for everybody to use. So we are excited to have Martha present. Before we get started officially, there's a few housekeeping items I'd like to go over. If you have any questions, you can ask them in the questions box on the GoToWebinar dashboard, or you can email me directly. My email address is on the screen there. And you can submit them at any time. If there's something pertinent, we'll be happy to answer it right away. Or we can, if you want to wait to the end, you're more than welcome to do that too. There is a PubMed fact sheet in the handout section of the dashboard, so you can go ahead and click on that file and download it. There has been reports that some people using Google Chrome that it doesn't download, and that's more likely a setting in Google Chrome rather than anything wrong with the file. So you can either try in another web browser, or you can wait for the follow-up email, and it'll be attached to that as well. So there will be a survey at the end of this webinar, as well as in a follow-up email. So if you can please complete that, we greatly appreciate your feedback. It always helps us when we're developing our programming, and we really want to provide the best for you too. So, and one more thing is we have our health-related resources research guide that Martha curates. So please, if you have any questions on health resources, medical resources, maybe some of the things that we have at the library, please check it out. The link is on the screen, but I will send it out in the chat too. So everybody has a live link, and Martha updates it constantly. She does a fantastic job with it, and it's a really, really great resource. So. For those of you who may be unfamiliar with GoToWebinar, this should be what your dashboard looks like. If you don't see this on your screen right now, either look for this orange box with a white arrow that'll open and close the dashboard, and it's possible that the dashboard loaded closed on you, or look for this blue clover type icon in your taskbar. If you click on that, then it should pop up the dashboard. So if at any point you can't figure anything out, you need any help, please use this raise hand button here. That'll alert me that you're having some type of issue. I can get in contact with you, then hopefully be able to resolve it. As I said, there is a handout in the handout section here, so you can just click on that file and download it. And again, if you have any questions, please submit them at any time using the question box. Just type it in here, hit send, that'll get sent to me, and we'd be happy to answer that for you. So that is everything that I have. So Martha, I will turn it over to you.
Okay, great. Let's see. Okay, let me open my, all right. Hopefully you are seeing my slide.
Yep, looks good.
Okay, great. Whoops. Okay, thanks so much, Andrew. Hi, everyone, and welcome. Thanks so much for joining us. As Andrew said, I'm one of the reference librarians here, and I work with the health and periodicals collections. So this is going to be an overview of PubMed, which I hope will be helpful whether you are new to PubMed or have some experience with it. And for this class, I'll be using the New Jersey State Library link to PubMed. So this is a link that is accessible to current New Jersey State employees and Thomas Edison State University staff and students with a state library card, and it provides links to full text in our databases. If you don't fall into these categories, then you are able to use the link to free PubMed. PubMed is a free resource, accessible for everybody, so the search tips we're going to cover will be relevant for everyone. And you can check with your local public library, or if you're with the university, you can check with their library for additional resources for full text. And my email is on this slide. You'll also find it on any of the health-related research guides on our website. So please feel free to contact me if you have any questions after this session, or if you ever have questions about PubMed. I love PubMed and I love talking about it. So here's what we're going to cover today. We'll talk about what PubMed is and what it contains. If you are familiar with PubMed and have used it lately, you may know that PubMed launched a new interface this year around May. So we'll see where things are on the new display. We'll also talk about how to get full text for articles. And then we'll see different ways to search for a subject, including doing simple searches, using Boolean operators to construct a search, and we'll also see how to use mesh or medical subject headings for searching. And then we'll take a look at how to search for articles by a particular author, or find an article from a citation, or search for a journal. So PubMed, it's a searchable medical database produced by the National Library of Medicine, and it provides free access to the Medline database. So it's the public version of Medline, PubMed. And Medline has citations to over 5,200 selected health and science journals. It's probably the largest biomedical database in the world, with over 30 million citations. And it's very current, and it has historical content as well. It contains professional level articles geared to researchers, clinicians, scientists, and others in the health field, but anyone can benefit from content to be found here. Subject coverage is very broad. All aspects of healthcare are covered, from preclinical to clinical medicine, science, nursing, dentistry, alternative medicine, veterinary medicine. So it's a broad range of coverage. And here's a visual breakdown of what you will find in PubMed. So Medline is the largest component of PubMed. As I mentioned, it's made up of citations to over 5,200 journals. And Medline is a database of citations, not full text, although sometimes you can link out to full text sources, as we'll see. The articles in Medline are indexed with mesh, medical subject headings, which describe the articles and can be used for searching. Then Pubmed Central, or PMC, is a free full-text archive of biomedical and life sciences journals. And PMC contains over 2,900 journals, which also have to meet certain criteria. And this is a big source for full text, so anyone using PubMed will find full text from Pubmed Central. There is overlap between Medline and Pubmed Central. About a quarter of PMC is also in Medline, so that means it's indexed with those mesh terms. Part of PMC is the National Institute of Health funded research. So the NIH has a public access policy mandate that makes sure that the public can access this research. And in addition, there's some other publicly funded and some privately funded research also available in PMC. Bookshelf is a smaller part of PubMed, and it's comprised of reference works, technical reports, systematic reviews, clinical guidelines, and the content of Bookshelf is not indexed with mesh. And most recently, it's not even on this, this graphic, a preprints pilot is part of PMC. And so preprints are research articles that are immediately available before peer review. So the articles in the preprints section are cover things about COVID-19. And so they're made available as early as possible to make that research accessible and discoverable. And PubMed has been around since 1997. Here is a picture from the ceremonial launch of the free database. Medline goes back much further to about 1964, but with the World Wide Web in the mid-90s, that's when a public version was possible for PubMed and for reaching this these resources, this research. Okay, so before we go into PubMed, there are a couple important things I want to take care of. First, if you're a current New Jersey State employee or a current Thomas Edison staff member or student, in order to use our link to PubMed and many other online resources, you will need a library card. So to get that from our website, which is njstatelib.org, on the right there is a green button that says Get a Library Card. And from there you would select the category you fall into. And then just fill in the registration form. You can also renew your card from here. At the bottom, you click on Submit Registration. From there, it goes to our circulation department, and they will add you to the system. They will mail you your card and email your barcode number to you so you can begin using online resources right away. The other thing you might want to do is set up an Illiad account. Illiad is our online article request system, and you can use this when you can't get the full text any other way, or even if you don't have time to look for an article, a specific article. So you'll need your library card number first, and you would click on the button that says Request a Book or Article. Here's some information about Illiad. You would click on the link for Illiad. And then here is where you would click on Illiad's request submission form. You would enter your barcode number, and then that brings you to the screen where you register. You enter all your information. Once you're registered, the screen in Illiad will look like this. And here's where you can request articles, books when we're open fully, and other items. So if I clicked on the article link, it would open up this screen, and you would maybe copy and paste the title, the year, the pages, the information you have about the article you need, and scroll down and click on Submit Request. From here, it goes to our interlibrary loan department, and they try to fill that request as soon as possible. Once the article is available, you'll get an email, and then you'll come into Illiad and click on Electronically Received Articles and get it that way. And we're often asked how long it takes to get an article. It really depends on how, if it's a journal that a lot of libraries have, how available it is, how fast the other library can get an item to us. But it's often pretty fast. So it's definitely worthwhile. Even if you only have like a couple days in which you need to get an article, it's definitely worth using Illiad to make that request. Okay, so I will go live to our website, and we can get into PubMed. And hopefully you're now seeing my screen that is live. All right, so to find the databases on our site, if you scroll down a little bit, there's a link that says Database List. Another way to find the databases is to use the Research Library dropdown and click on this Research Guides link. And then if you go to the Go to A to Z list, it brings you to a page that shows all of our databases. And what's nice about this, this display is that you can easily look for our databases by subject, by type of content, by who has access, if it's a free resource, if it's just state employees, or if it's also Thomas Edison. There's a notation here about additional information for Thomas Edison students and staff about access. So I'm going to click on the letter P to find PubMed and scroll down. And so here is our link to PubMed. There is also a link here to the free version of PubMed, and PubMed.gov is the website. You can always just go to that to find the free version as well. So I'm going to click the link and enter our test library card number, which gets us into PubMed. So here's what the screen looks like now. There's a search box. If you scroll down a little bit, there's other options here, and then it shows trending articles and latest literature in certain journals. So I'm going to start with a really basic search just to kind of orient us to the display. What the National Library of Medicine recommends for entering search terms is to just enter your terms, no punctuation, no quotes, just put in what you're looking for. So I'm going to put in measles in New Jersey and not worry about how that's formatted. And we get our results. And you can see in the results that it lets you know right away, oh, this is an article that's free in Pubmed Central, and this is a free article. So you can see that right away. If you, now the way the articles are displayed are in best match order, so it does a relevancy ranking. If you wanted to change that to have the most recent publication date first, you can change this to publication date. If we change the display to an abstract, we'll now get the full abstract on the screen. And in addition to that, we see these icons, these full text link icons. So beneath every article, if you use our link, you'll see this Find Full Text from NJ State Library link there. Now something I want to say about these full text link icons is, if it says full text, like JAMA Pediatrics, if it's a publisher's icon, if it doesn't say free, or if it doesn't say open access, it's not going to be free. So if you were to click here, you would get to the publisher's site and you'd probably have to pay for that article. Now this one is free in PMC, so we could easily get this article available right away in PMC. Usually there's a PDF full text of that as well. Let's see. So also, if you see an article that you don't see full text available for free or PMC, you can use our link to see if we have it in our databases. So if I click on that, it opens up this page and it lets us know that we can find this in one of our databases called EBSCO. So I can click on that. And that opens up that item in EBSCO, and we can click on the full text link and get the full text of this article right away. And when you get to this screen, there's always this link that says Contact a Librarian for assistance with this item. If you're having any problems, if something's not working, the link is not, it's broken. If you click on that, that'll come to our contact page. So where you could fill in a form and it'll send an email to us, and we can try to help you with and resolve that issue. Okay. Now, sometimes there might be an article, and let me find one, where we don't have the full text. I think it's this one. So if you were to click on, say, this article, and you tried to see if we had it, all we're getting now is a link that says request this item in Iliad. So we don't have this in our databases. So all you would do is click on this link, and it would open up your account in Iliad. This is it's not a real account, so it doesn't have the screen, but if it was, it would open right up to the page where it would be a request for a new article, and it would pre-populate the fields for the title, the journal name, the author, and then you can just scroll down and click on submit request right away. So just something to be aware of. So these icons that you find when you use our link should hopefully either get you to full text in our database or a way to request full text in our databases. Okay, so another thing to talk about with the display is on the left, there are filters that are available. Let's see, so there's a date slider. If you wanted to adjust the publication date range, you could do that. You could also make this bigger and smaller. This can be kind of nice if you want to sort of see trends over time, see what years there were a lot of articles on this topic. There are filters for text availability as well. So if you wanted to make sure you found articles that have free full text, you can select that, and only the free full text articles will appear. Now, if you're using our link, I would say to be cautious using this, because this won't select articles that we have in our databases. This is only the free full text that's available for everyone in PubMed Central or other free resources. This full text filter only finds the it finds articles that have full text, but in addition, it finds articles that have those icons to the publisher's site where it might not be free. So just something to be aware of when you're using that. And there's other ways to filter your articles as well. There's different article types. These are sort of the most commonly used ones. You can select a publication date range, and there's additional filters as well. So if you went in here, you see there's many more article types you can choose from. You can add a species if you just want human studies. There's language. You can set this to just English articles. PubMed is an international database, so there is content in here that's in other languages. If you need to focus it by gender or subject area. There are journal subsets, so if you just want to search within the nursing journals, you can do that. And if you want to have the ability to search by age groups, you can do that as well. So if I went into the article type and I added, let's say, practice guidelines and let's say comparative studies and clicked on show, then now those options appear on the main screen and I can search using those filters. Okay, so if you open up, let's see, I'm going to scroll down to, I want to show you article number 8. Yeah, so if you were to click on the title of the article, this brings up, well, it brings up the abstract and it brings up a lot more information about that article. And you can see over on the right, we have the full text links available here. There's also the cite option if you wanted to, if you're using this article for your paper, you need this for a bibliography, you can come in here and find the appropriate format to add for your paper. So if you scroll down, you'll see over here on the right, there's some navigation, and this can jump right to certain things about this article. So right beneath the article is usually, or sometimes there'll be a section here that says similar articles. So if the article that you've searched for, you're looking at, is really good and it's really right on target, sometimes there's a link here that'll say similar articles and you can get those right away. Now further down, you can sometimes find the mesh terms. So this is an article that's in Medline, so it has mesh terms assigned to it. And you can see that they describe the content of the article. Sometimes there is a heading and a subheading combination. So measles is a heading and nursing is a subheading. There's an asterisk on this heading and subheading combination, and that means that that's a main focus of the article. That's one of the main points of this article. And a lot of the articles, this is a review article, so there's not that many mesh terms. There are other articles that have like many, many more terms. So sometimes you'll see a whole list of terms that describe the article. Okay, so I'm going to do another search now. And this time I'm going to look for articles about high blood pressure and low salt diet. And again, I'm just going to type in our search. I'm not going to do any, specific punctuation and click on search. And this brings us to our search results. Sometimes you'll see a few results ahead of the list of main results. And what it's doing is it's doing a citation matching. So if it's finding your specific terms in a title of an article, it'll put those first. And you can see all the results that follow. So one of the things that PubMed does when you enter a search is in the background, it's doing something called automatic term mapping. So it's looking at your terms, your phrases, and trying to map that to a mesh heading. And I think it adds some other synonyms as well. So the way to see that is if you go into the advanced search and you scroll down, you can see there's a section called search details. And if you open up the search details for what you just searched, this shows exactly what was actually the search that was actually run. So we're seeing a lot of mesh terms. We're seeing Boolean operators, and or are the Boolean operators that link our search terms together. And you can see here under these translations how it translated our search terms. So high blood pressure was mapped to a mesh term called hypertension, and low salt diet mapped to diet sodium restricted. And so we didn't have to know about these mesh terms. We didn't have to be aware of how it was constructed. This happened behind the scenes automatically. Now, it is always a good idea to check the search details. Let me go back to the main screen. Most of the time, the mapping works really well, and it finds, you know, what you're looking for, what you want. But sometimes it doesn't do that. Oh, actually, before I talk about that, let me just show you what happens if we put, if we add quotation marks around our phrases. Now, in some databases, this is what you would do. You would add quotes around your phrases to make sure the database finds exactly what you're looking for, the terms you're looking for. So if I click on search and we go to the advanced search to look at our search details, we'll see that that has turned off the automatic term mapping. So just something to be aware of. If you're used to searching that way, putting in your own you know, quotation marks to find phrases, that's something that will happen if you do that in PubMed. And that's why they say to just enter your search terms if possible with no punctuation. So as I was saying, it's always good to check the search details because sometimes it might not map correctly. So if I did a search for power lines and cancer, and I'm getting my results, and they're looking, you know, pretty good, the first couple, but then this third article, it doesn't seem to quite be on our topic, and neither does this fifth article. This is about autoimmune disease and cancer and aging. So something might be happening in the background that we're not getting exactly what we're looking for. So if we go to the advanced search and check our search details, we can see that here's the search that was conducted, and here's how our terms were translated. So instead of mapping to power lines, which there obviously isn't a mesh term for, it mapped to power psychological. And lines mapped to something called long interspersed nucleotide elements, which is not what we're looking for at all. And cancer mapped correctly. It mapped to the mesh term neoplasms. And it also, what PubMed does automatically also is it adds in any plurals or any different endings of words. So that's something else you don't have to worry about. You know, how will it search for the root word and different endings? In a lot of databases, you would add an asterisk to do that, but here that's doing that automatically. So this is a case where we might want to use quotation marks around our search. And now we're getting articles that might be a little bit more focused on what we're looking for. And a good idea in a case like this might be to take a look at an article and maybe look at the mesh terms and see what types of terms are used for this concept. So we might want to add in electromagnetic fields or magnetic fields to our search. So this is a good way to find other search terms to expand our search. And you can add a search term in right from here. You can click on the link for the mesh and then add it right to the search. Okay, so another way to search is using Boolean operators. As we saw, when you enter search terms for a simple search, PubMed will do that for you behind the scenes. But sometimes you might want to do that right away because you're looking for something that's a little bit more complicated, something that you have synonyms for and you want to be sure to capture all of that. So what you can do is use the Boolean operators and, or, and not, and type them into your search. So if I was looking for articles about the common cold and vitamin C or zinc, I could put my search terms in, but what PubMed does automatically is it ands the search together. And I want to look for articles about vitamin C or zinc. So in this case, I would want to type in Boolean operator and or. In addition, I would want to add parentheses around the terms I'm oring together, because that will make sure that that's grouped together as a unit. And in PubMed, they do recommend that you capitalize the Boolean operators. So I'm going to click on search, and we'll get our search results. And I think this is kind of interesting. It looks like these were big years for articles about the common cold and zinc and vitamin C, it looks like. So this is what I was saying about seeing trends for a topic. Now, sometimes you can have, you can generate some pretty lengthy searches in here, if you have sort of a complicated search. So I'll just show you one more example. Recently, I was looking for articles about a rapid antigen test for COVID-19. So I did something like COVID-19 or SARS-CoV-2. And I did rapid or point of care because I was seeing that come up in a lot of results, and antigen. And I think I had some other search terms as well. So it can get pretty lengthy. And I clicked on search and got results. Let's get rid of that. Okay. What's nice in PubMed is if you have like a lengthy search strategy, a lengthy search that you want to keep up to date on, you can create an alert for that. So you would have to create an account in PubMed and follow the directions under create alert. So that's very helpful. If we look at the search details for this search, you can see how, how the search was expanded. It looked for quite a lot of search terms, and here's how each of the terms I put in was translated. So again, we have COVID-19. What's interesting here is that it didn't find a mesh heading for COVID-19. Instead, it found a supplementary concept. So what's happening with this, or what happened with this, is that every year, actually around this time of year, new mesh is added to the mesh database. So all year, National Library of Medicine is collecting people's recommendations for mesh that should be added to the database. And around this time last year, COVID-19 wasn't in existence. So when the new mesh came out for 2020, this wasn't added. It wasn't anything that was known yet. So earlier this year, they added this as a supplementary concept so that it is searchable, so that it is mappable in PubMed. The new mesh for 2021 is out now, and COVID-19 is a mesh term. And we can see that point of care systems mapped to point of care, and of course, antigens has a mesh term as well, and that added to antigens. Okay. I'm just going to stop really quickly and see if there's any questions before we look at how to search using mesh terms. Just take a look.
No questions have come in yet.
Okay. Okay, so next we'll talk about how to search using the mesh headings. So on the front page of the PubMed screen is the link to the mesh database. Now, for some reason, there's a glitch with our link to PubMed using this the mesh database. So I'm going to go back out to the free resource, the free version of PubMed, and use that to show you this. And we're going to work on why that's not working. So what you would do is go to the mesh database and look for whatever search terms you want to find. So let's say I'm looking for articles about statins and the effect on stroke. So my first search term that I want to find is statins. I'll click on search. And generally the first result should be, if there is a mesh term for what you're looking for, it should be one of the first results. So I'll click on that. And this is something I would not have known or thought of. So fortunately, it recognizes my synonym for this term. So here it gives you the definition for the term. It also gives you a lot of different possible subheadings that you can add to make your search even more specific. So if you wanted to find just the therapeutic use of statins, you can select that subheading. Further down, you can see all of the synonyms, all of the entry terms for this mesh term. And then scrolling down even further, you can see the mesh hierarchy of terms ranged from broadest to narrowest. So every narrower term is indented beneath the broader term. So some of the choices you have here include you can search for your term as a major mesh topic, meaning the articles will be highly focused on what you're looking for. You can also say do not include mesh terms found below the term. In this case, there are no narrower terms, so that doesn't matter. And then once you've made your selections, you could click on Add to Search Builder. We'll have the Boolean operator and selected, and it puts that right into the search box for you. So next we want to look for stroke, our next search concept. And you have to spell it correctly. And then you can select the term, or you can add it right from here. You can just click right there and add it. So again, you get the definition and all the possible subheadings for the term. Here are all of the synonyms and entry terms for that mesh term. And again, where this falls in the hierarchy. And in this case, there are several narrower terms, and the plus signs indicate that there are even narrower terms beneath those terms. So if we did click on do not include those mesh terms, it wouldn't search for these. It would only search for the term stroke in the articles. But I will select restrict to mesh major topic and add to search builder with and. So once you've added those terms, you would just click on Search PubMed, and then you get your results, which should be very focused on what you are looking for. In fact, by default, when you search with mesh, it'll display the results by most recent. You can change this to best match if you want to. I think it probably adds a little bit more relevancy ranking. But all the results should be pretty relevant because of the nature of searching with mesh headings. So the advantages of doing a mesh search in PubMed is that you can be very specific. You can look for your term as a major topic. You can focus further with subheadings. So that's all, all the benefits. The disadvantages of using mesh is that you're probably missing content that's available in Pubmed Central that's not indexed with mesh terms. You're not going to pull up results from the bookshelf. And also, you're not going to get the most recent results, the most recent articles, because as articles are added every day to PubMed, but the mesh terms have to be assigned by indexers. So when they're brand new, they may not have those mesh terms right away. So that's the the advantages, disadvantages of using mesh. Okay, so those are kind of the main ways to search for a subject. And next I was going to talk about looking for articles by a particular author, a citation, and a journal. So first, to find articles by a particular author, well, one way to do it is you can go to this single citation matcher link and type in an author name here. But another way you can do it right from the search screen is you can enter the last name of the author and the first or second initial of that author. You can put in the full first name of somebody, but I would say it's better to use just one or two initials because not all of the articles in PubMed have the full names of the authors. And I'm going to look for Fiona Wood. She is a physician in Australia who is known for her patented invention of spray-on skin for burn victims. So I will click on search. And when we get our results, we want to make sure we find the articles by Fiona Wood, the burn specialist, and not any other F. Woods. So if we go through the results and we find an article that appears to be one of in her area, we can click on that. And from here we can see this is Fiona Wood. You can also expand the affiliations link. And we see here that she is from the Fiona Wood Foundation in Australia and the Burn Injury Research Unit. So we know this is the author we want. So at this point, you would click on the name of the author, and now it does a computed author match. So it's matching not only the name and initials, but it's also looking at the subjects of the articles and the affiliations of the author to get the best match it can for the author you're looking for. Okay, so that is searching for an author. So let's say you have a citation to a journal and you have parts of the citation you want to see if it's in PubMed. Maybe you can get the full text. So again, one of the things you can do is go to the single citation matcher. You can put in the pieces of the citation you have, maybe the year, the author, the journal. But another way you can do it is just type in the pieces of the citation you have right into the search box. So let's say you've read an article and it says that in the journal Immunity in 2017, Dr. Anthony Fauci had an article about flu vaccine. So we can type in, I have the name of the journal, Immunity. I know the name of the author, and I have the year. So we could just enter that information and click search. And if the citation matching works properly, then you will get a link to that article. And this article is available in Cell Press. And let's see if we have it in our full text options from the library. Yes, so we have this article available in our Science Direct database and in ProQuest for state employees. If you are a Thomas Edison student and you ever see this, only state employees have access, and you don't see any other access, definitely go in and check for the article in your My Edison portal, because you will probably be able to find that item there. But if you ever have trouble finding it or running into any difficulties, just let us know. Or you could also put the article request into Iliad. Okay, so that is looking for a citation. If you want to find articles from a journal, again, you can do it right from here. You can use the search box to enter the name of a journal. Now, the journal name has to be specific enough for the journal search to work. So, for example, I can type in the New England Journal of Medicine, and click on search. And this will pull up articles from the New England Journal of Medicine. And this is a case where you might actually want to do, instead of a best match, you might want to do publication date and look and see what the most recent articles in the journal are. And if we take a look at one of these early articles, you can see that the mesh hasn't been assigned yet. At some point it will be, but it isn't there yet. So that's one of the reasons I was mentioning that searching with mesh might not be advantageous if you want the most recent articles. Now, let's say the journal you are looking for has a name that's a name like Cell, something that isn't that specific. If we did this search, we would definitely find a lot more than just articles from the journal Cell. So what you would want to do in this case is go to the advanced search and select from the all fields drop-down box the option for journal. And then you can type in the name of a journal. So I can type in Cell, click on add, it adds to this query box, and then you can click on search. And now we have a list of results from the journal Cell. Okay, so, and just the very last thing I wanted to mention, it wasn't on the our agenda, but this is something I just noticed that they updated in PubMed, and it's the clinical queries. So clinical queries it's actually a pretty good way to find the most recent research on like a disease or a disorder. And they also just recently updated it to find articles on COVID-19. So what you would do in here, let's say I want to find the most recent articles on the therapy for migraine headache. If I type in my topic, I can come over here, and so this is searching just for clinical studies. So you can look here for articles on therapy, diagnosis, etiology, prognosis. You can also decide if you want to do a broad or narrow search. So a broad search is going to find more articles. They might be less relevant. And a narrow search is going to find less articles, but they might be more relevant. So I will do that. So this left-hand column is always going to be looking for the COVID-19 related articles. So there might be some articles that talk about migraine treatments in the COVID-19 literature. But on the right are the results from the search that we put in our search box. So here are the links, the first 5 results of articles about therapy for migraine. And if I clicked on See All, that brings us into PubMed, and you can have a list of all of the articles. And again, if you wanted to change the display to a best match, you can do that. Okay, so are there any questions about anything we just talked about, anything was confusing that I can clarify?
I don't see anything yet, but we can give it a few minutes. Again, if you have any questions, please, you can submit them using the questions box in the dashboard. And we'll be happy to answer them for you.
Yeah, I hope this was helpful. Andrew will be sending out a survey or evaluation, so let us know if you want to see any other health information webinars. If you're interested in seeing additional webinars about PubMed on topics like setting up an account or saving searches or creating search alerts, let me know, and we can have a webinar on that in the future. And also keep in mind, my email is in the health research guides. You're always welcome to contact me if you have any questions.
Someone wanted you to go over how to set up Iliad again.
How to set up Iliad. Okay. Let me go back to okay. So if you're on our website, njstatelib.org, there is a button that says request a book or article. When you click on that, you'll come to this page and you'll have to click on the link that says Iliad, and then click on the link that says Iliad request submission form. And once you do that, if you have your library barcode number, you'll enter that. And then here's where you set up your registration for Iliad. Once that's done, you'll be able to get into Iliad and request an article. Books once we're fully operational again. And this is also where, so here's what the article request form looks like. And you would submit the request from there, and then you would come in. Once the article is in, you get an email and you go into Iliad and pick up the article there. It's a PDF attachment that is available. Does that answer that question? There is also, on our website, we have short tutorials, and there's a tutorial on setting up an Illiad account.
Right. Can public libraries get PubMed articles that are not free from the New Jersey State Library?
Public libraries would have to, if you don't have the article in your own collection, you could do an interlibrary loan for the article. Now, it's possible we could fill that article request through an interlibrary loan. But it would just be the normal interlibrary loan service. Does that answer that?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. There's a lot more full text in PubMed than there used to be. With Pubmed Central and more open access journals, it's so much more than there used to be. And if you're looking for anything about COVID-19, that's all free. The publishers have made that content available without, paywalls. So that's been really helpful.
All right, well, it looks like we don't have any more questions. So I'd like to thank you, Martha, for going over this fantastic resource. And I'd like to thank everybody for attending today. Please, if you have a chance, fill out the survey. Be safe, be well, and hopefully we'll see you soon at another program.
Thanks very much. Stay safe and be well.